As early as age 5 years old, things were different with me. Something was going on the inside of me, something was going on in my head, but I just couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was. I found out early in life that I was adopted, and that was a big trigger for me growing up. It was hard for me to really identify why. How could somebody give birth to me, look at me, and think that I wasn't good enough? I knew that I didn't look like my mom. I knew I didn't look like my dad. I didn't look like my older sisters. I didn't look like my grandfather. I didn't look like anybody in my family. I was always an outsider. I always felt like I was the loner of the crew. It was, difficult growing up, struggling with that. I lived a pretty much structured life growing up. I was always into stuff. I was an energetic kid, so they put me in a lot of sports. 5 sports to be exact. I played basketball, I played baseball, I ran track, I did swimming, and I played soccer. And I graduated like 20 years ago. And that's what helped me growing up. Even though I didn't really feel too happy about who Kevin Berthia was, when I looked in the mirror, I just knew that playing sports helped me deal with how I really felt about myself. 12 and a half, going on 13 is when my parents, this is about 1995, my parents would split and later on divorce. I went from an elementary where I could run around, if I wanted to cry, I probably could and it would have been okay, to a junior high where you had to worry about how you looked, you had to worry about keeping in your emotions, you had to worry about being tough and being able to defend yourself. It was like I hated everything on life times 10, and I just wanted to die. And it's just the transitioning of having to pick a parent, going back from home to home and halfway living with my mom, halfway living with my dad. At 14, I was just overwhelmed. I met a girl in college while I was at City College San Francisco, and here we are, 2 young people trying to mesh 2 things together, and we just tried to be in a relationship. But that problem is she had just as many problems as I did, and we argued a lot. We just argued just because we just couldn't get along. On one particular argument, I couldn't control myself. I can't remember what was said. It's just me, my older sister, and my ex-girlfriend at the time, and we got into an argument. I got so mad that as you're going out the house, you got to walk through the kitchen. And as you walk through the kitchen, the biggest knife in the house literally was laying on the counter for whatever reason. I grabbed that knife on my way out and I run out. Now, my older sister, who's never seen me upset, she's probably seen me cry a couple times here and there, but she's never seen me like this because I was a king of cool. Like, I was a king of always keeping my emotions together and keep my emotions in check because I never wanted anybody to question what was really wrong with me. She didn't know what I was gonna do. So she called the Oakland Police Department. Oakland Police Department come out in about 15 minutes. They find me around the corner from my house, and I was on these steps, and I had that knife, and it was, at my throat. Now, for the first time in my life, I felt like I was in control. Now, it may not feel like a good control, but it was something about the control that I felt. It was something about being able to dictate the next couple of seconds, the next couple of minutes. Nobody was gonna be able to tell me what to do. I'm in control of what's going on. Growing up, I never wanted kids. I always felt like, I was gonna be, a horrible dad, or they were gonna grow up and feel like me. But when I used to watch on TV, when babies were being born, and they come out the womb and the doctor cleaned the baby up and they hand the baby to the parents, it was that look of reassurance that the parents would give the baby. It was just like I yearned for that look, that moment. My daughter was supposed to be born July 23rd of 2004. That was her initial due date. She came April 6th. I remember getting a phone call from school in San Francisco and saying that we in labor. I had to drive from literally San Francisco to Berkeley, California, and I did that route in probably like 17 minutes, broke all these different laws because I was trying to get there for that moment. The first time I saw my daughter, she was in a glass incubator. She was so small, it was like I could fit her in one of my hands. Just looking down at this little baby that was mine, I felt like the biggest failure on earth because I felt like she was fighting for her life and I didn't know why. Who knew that, I know she didn't have any platinum, incubators. She didn't have, some solid gold syringes or anything like that. So I was thinking at the time, 21 years old, how much could this doctor bill be? I mean, how much could it really accumulate to? When I got that doctor's bill and accumulate to $250,000, I knew that I was in trouble. On March 11, 2005, I woke up. It was like I felt every painful moment in my life that I didn't deal with, that I didn't address, that I didn't think mattered to me, I felt in one morning. I went to the Shell gas station. As soon as the pump clicked to say it finished, my brain clicked and said Golden Gate Bridge. I never been there. I never knew how I would have to jump off or what I would have to do. I just knew that I had to get to the bridge. I had to old-fashioned ask for directions, but I was hoping that whoever I asked for directions would look at me and want to know why I wanted to go there. She never even gave me eye contact. She looked straight forward from what she was doing and gave me directions. As I drove off from her, I felt like I was in control. I was done for the show. I was done talking. I was done negotiating. When I get to the bridge, I'm gonna park, I'm gonna get out the car, and I'm gonna jump over. That was the plan. But when I got out there, I just started pacing myself for about 5 to 10 minutes. I didn't realize in that moment, I was looking for one reason not to jump. I found a good spot. I looked over the railing, and in that water, I saw peace. I saw not having to be a burden. I saw not having to be a chameleon, not have to lie about who you are. So I take a couple steps back and I brace myself because I know I'm going to feel the water, and it's going to be over. And as I'm jumping over the railing, I hear a voice and I grab the railing. So now I'm angry. We going back and forth. I'm yelling at this voice to stay back because if he gets any closer, I'm just going to nudge back. And something on the inside of me says, why does he even care? And I know that he's pretty much over me now. And we go back and forth for the next 92 minutes and talked to my first responder, Officer Sergeant Briggs, openly about everything that happened in my life up until that point. And he just sat there and listened. It was like with every painful word that I was saying, it was like a weight was being lifted off of me. It had to be one particular thing to get me back over that railing. How I felt about being a failure as a father. When I talked about my daughter, it was a different emotion. He reminded me that, Kevin, you need to be here for her next birthday. It was enough for me to want to just try it again because I wanted to just try to get there for her birthday. I was looking for a reason to live and he gave me one. I would have missed her first birthday. If I would have been successful, I would have missed out on all this. I would have missed out on so many different things. I got up and spoke, over the next, 30 minutes, I spoke openly about everything that took me to the Golden Gate Bridge. For the first time in my life, I'm openly talking about my problems in a room, full of 300 plus, 400 plus people. And I could just feel the weights being lifted as I'm talking. I mean, I've never talked about things in my life, but as I'm talking, I can feel these weights being lifted over and over and over and over again. It's just like I feel so much better as I'm talking. I got off that stage, and as I'm making my way back down to my table, which is in the front, it's a line that begins to form. And I remember it's this lady that's in line. It's a lady, it's the first lady in line, kind of steps forward. And, I could tell she's been crying the whole time and she's in tears. And she said, I need you to listen to me. My son, Jacob, lost his battle 5 years ago. But you know what? I'm going to sleep tonight. She said, look me in my eyes. I'm going to sleep tonight. And the only reason why I'm sleeping tonight is because now I can understand what Jacob was going through. In that moment, everything about me changed. I realized that I wasn't alone, and I realized that it was so much bigger than me, that the things that I've been through in my life were so much bigger than me. being on that stage and connecting with people and being able afterwards to connect with people, that I wanted this to be my life. Because I had no idea that talking, because we're not trained to talk about how we feel, especially when those feelings can lead us to, having people think differently about us. We have this idea of what we want people and society to see us as. And if we can't keep up with that image, we get all frantic. But the truth be told, we all are struggling with something. And I think that once we be honest, with each other and be real with the things that we struggle. And that's why I'm very real about what I deal with. I struggle every single day. I'm going to struggle every single day, but it doesn't and it will not define me. And that's why I try to tell people all the time. That's why I spend my life pouring into people and trying to telling people this knowledge that, I was in this dark place and I know you there now, but here's how you get out and here's how you stay out. I go to that dark place, but I don't stay there. Before this, for 30 years, I lived in that dark place. I was the mayor of that dark place. I opened up stock. We had houses. I had businesses in that dark place. I was never supposed to live in there. We're supposed to go through the dark places, And I think that, when they say the light at the end of the tunnel, the light is not an illusion. The tunnel is. I was so young and unknown. I didn't know. I had no idea what I was battling, and a lot of people don't. People have no idea what they're battling. People have no idea what they're up against, and that's why you have to get help. There's no way I could have battled this alone, and the fact that I did it for so many years and that I came up out of it. Look what came up out of it: 22 failed suicide attempts trying to battle it alone. And I think that we have to stop trying to battle it alone. There's so many people in the world that have a story, and we all have a story. We all have had the worst day of our life. We probably just don't have a picture. I have a picture of the worst day of my life, but I'm no different than anybody else. I just wish I would have known, everything that I knew then. Like I wish I would have known it, but it would change me from who I was, and it would change my purpose. And I'm thankful for everything that I've been through in my life now. I just really am.